Hello, Diggory Hadoke here for the Vintage Gun Journal with a Charles Lancaster to look at today. Back when muzzle loaders were being replaced by breech loaders, a lot of different ideas came into the fore, and this is one of the earliest ones. It was a continental idea initially, but it was bought by Charles Lancaster and introduced to Britain. The interesting thing about this is that instead of being a clear drop down action first of all, which looks like it ought to be a Jones underlever, when that underlever moves, the first thing it does is cam the action off the barrels, or the barrels off the action like that. When it does that, the hook comes into contact with the hinge pin and allows the barrel to drop. And then to close it, you do the reverse. Side nail forend attachment, the oldest and probably securest but least convenient of the forend attachments. Here we can see the camming action. And then back again. There's the relatively light hinge pin, and there's the twin lumps with the hook there with the parallel section, and then the rounder section for the hinge pin. Centre-fire strikers, a lot of these Lancasters were made in base fire. This is early 1850s they first came in, but this one's a relatively late one. It was actually made in 1870 as a centre fire. Two positions, half cock and full cock. Although, because of the camming action of the barrels, half cock is not actually necessary to open the gun, because of course they move forward, removing the cartridges from contact with the firing pins, and it can open without any problem. It's a very nice quality gun, superb piece of wood, back action locks, these typical early what we call hare's ear hammers with a direct strike. Look at the strikers go directly through, almost at right angles. Later on you'll see a more oblique striking of the strikers, because it was easier to get them out, frankly, of the caps. But a nice example of a gun which isn't as uncommon as you might think it is, but finding a good example is quite difficult. And the other thing to notice is relative to a modern gun, how slim the breeches are there. On a modern 12-bore gun you'd expect a great deal more metal around the breech ends, but at this period they were still experimenting with what was necessary, and that is actually a very strong, possibly over-engineered mechanism. The reason it fell out of favour largely was to do with two movements as opposed to the later one movement, when you simply had a Jones underlever locking it together. But a design ahead of its time, base fire was ahead of its time, and it's really nice that we've still got examples like this in such unspoilt condition to show us what these people were up to back in the mid 1850s. Lancaster, 1870, but actually 1850s technology, slide and tilt, 12-bore. Oh!